All right, so here's the deal. You guys need an update on the Nissan. As you can see, the engine is kind of in a very roundabout way back inside of it. That has been an ongoing project. So my father took over rebuilding it while I was doing other projects, and he is not the most avid engine builder. So I have had it together and apart and running and not running and all of these things, and in that time I have it close. However, if you look down in here, you see a lot of the things are missing, and that is because we have learned a valuable lesson. This is the old gasket that I'm chunking off right here, and this is the new gasket. And what happened, look, there's even more right there. What happened was he didn't properly prep his surface, and so that was a very large oil leak. And the oil pump, this is your little pump here, goes on the crankshaft, pumps out of that main hole. And you guys saw the video where I retapped and threaded that guy because that was all cross-threaded and that was leaking as well. I put JB Weld on there as a preventative measure because that cork never needs to come out of there. And I was afraid while this was mounted to the block, if I TIG welded it, I was going to warp this surface or possibly other surfaces and it was going to leak worse. Turns out it didn't matter because it was going to leak anyways, because yeah, all of your oil flows through right there, and there was the seam of the gasket right there. So that had to come out. Also found out that these pumps are rebuildable. So, oh, look at that, there's a bolt. So I'm going to rebuild this old one that doesn't have a plug threaded and JB welded in place with the parts out of this guy, and that's going to go back in. And the book tells you you have to either pull the engine or drop the front diff in order to get the oil pan off, in order to get the oil pump off. They are liars. They might be telling the truth in order to get it back together, but they are liars to get it apart. Because what I did was I undid the motor mount on this side, pulled the starter out, pulled this bracket out, and then undid the motor mount on this side, pulled this bracket out, and then obviously undid all the front of it. But I was able to lift up the engine about 6 inches or so. It's not up right now. I have it kind of resting on some stuff so that it's not as strained on my hoist while I order some parts. And you're able to get it up about 6 inches. You can get all the oil pan bolts off. The only reason you have to pull these is to get to the oil pan bolts. I doubt you can get to them with those on. If you want to try it, all the power to you. I took them off. You can get the engine up about 6 inches. You can drop the pan away. The only reason you have to drop the pan to get the oil pump out is you have to pull these bolts, but your pickup tube goes in right there. In order to get to those bolts, that is underneath of the pan. And that is that. So hopefully Friday comes around, I'm going to order some parts for it, and then this weekend, probably not this weekend because I'm going to have to order the parts that won't get here, etc., etc., I will have it running at some point. At some point. When I had it running, it had some other issues as well. So slowly but surely, I'm basically going through this whole engine with it now in the truck instead of it being out of the truck, which is a bummer and makes it a lot more difficult. So rebuild your engine right the first time. Don't put it in and hope for the best. Do it right. Get a book. Do all the preventative measures. If you do stuff 4 or 5 times, it's fine. Do it right the first time. Take extra care. If you don't know something, look it up. Don't just wing it, because it really sucks to have to do in the truck. At least on this. I mean, if it was a small block Chevy or something, probably a little easier. But this Nissan, not so much of the easierness. So that is that. If you guys have any questions about pulling this oil pump out or doing any of the timing, because you have to set all the timing and doing all that stuff, throw it in the comments and I will do my best to answer them for you. Thanks for watching.